this bird-like human looked like a pterodactyl, highly intelligent. They're very nice, very human, but long-jawed, and very white, beautiful blue eyes. And it was very thin face. They're very attractive beings. Big almond eyes, twice the size of ours, smaller nose. They had teeth just like ours, and they had lips. They had no eyebrows.
So you're growing it life adult size from the beginning.
Correct.
How would they accelerate the gestation growth process?
Yeah, they do that 9 to 24 months. They can make a complete body. And they do that with the advancement of neurotransmitter chemicals and hormones and special amino acids from unearthly origin that allows the body to regenerate faster. So what they're trying to do is, let's find all the species on the planet, and let's find out who replicates the fastest, and let's make it more of that species than human. And that way, that'll be the dominant gene for, in that being. But it'll have all those attributes of, great eyesight or whatever. So they were splicing, hundreds of different genes together, which is very difficult to do. And they use very mega supercomputers to do this because of all the algorithms that are done. And they did it from scratch, and then they keep adding extraterrestrial DNA to it with the extraterrestrial DNA that they have found that is comparable to human DNA as far as the growth rates. You can grow the bone over the titanium and just reinforce it. So the titanium is already there, and then you have these 3D printers that are printing the tissue onto the metal.
Is it possible that if you have a being that didn't work out properly and is kept in stasis, can that genetic material be reused?
Yes, they can do two things. They can terminate the being and liquefy it, and then use that amino acids to do other things. They can also extract the DNA from that and save it to find out what is going to be able to work together. Because the problem is everything wants to fight everything. Getting rid of the antigens and the antibodies that are saying no. They're now able to program the cells to accept it, even though the body might not last a year.
So the lifespan, the fact that it's so compromised, what does that mean for trying to use clones to build a species? I would think that would be, it's almost like this is messing around with something that doesn't really have the potential to create any lasting life form. It's more like just a tinkering.
It is a tinkering, and tinkering gets my lab money. So when I make a breakthrough, I'm going to get, what I need for my lab for the next year. So I can do even more tinkering. But once you get to a spot, which they already have, so they're already making clones. That's not a secret. They're already making clones, and they're storing them in the thousands, okay? And they are able to keep these clones alive until they activate them. And we call these programmed life form clones, not just a regular clone that they make and they use for their own personal, whatever, assistant. These are clones that are actually going to use for something. And I can speculate only the worst, because I wouldn't want a whole world full of clones that who knows what's going to happen if they mutate or down the road, or how long their lifespan might be. So they're probably going to be used for war, because they're, just an asset that can be, destroyed. That's the only thing I can think of, because I don't know why they would store so many clones in one area, and then this information leak out into the private mill labs. It could be disinformation, but it's not. It's actual real information, and now it's coming out to the public. China's already saying they'll be growing people for their organ. It's a very, 33 people die, every day waiting for an organ here. So I get it, but I don't get it, because those are, living creatures or living organs, or, how they're doing it. But to say a body is kind of, to say that we're actually going to make a cloned human to harvest his organs, is pretty.
Yeah, it's ethically complicated. To say the least.
It sends chills up my spine. You know, I believe they are trying to. They stumble upon things during these hybridizations. They stumble upon things that they never knew, and some of those things I think may make it to the civilian world to help us heal. But it's a very slow and costly thing because that's how they make their money.
One of the extraterrestrial species that Pete Peterson talked about, he called them the simulacs. And they were apparently a little more simian than humans are, but for whatever reason, I guess they had tails that were, the tails could bend. And they made their fingers, they tinkered with their DNA and made their fingers into these long things that could curl like a tail. I'm curious if you ever saw anything like that in your autopsy work.
No, but I have seen feet that were hands, more like hands than feet. And these are very lengthy people, very human, but long-jawed, and very white, and beautiful blue eyes. And it was very thin face. They were very attractive beings.
What were the size of the eyes like compared to ours?
Big almond eyes, twice the size of ours, smaller nose. They had teeth just like ours, and they had lips. They had no eyebrows, and they had their ears were like oval and very small, and their legs were the reverse. Tibia, fibia was backwards, and the femur. So if you switched your joints around, it would go the opposite way, back and up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, how extensive do you think this ET human hybridization is?
In my own opinion, as of today, they have already probably duplicated 20, 30 species, like cloned the extraterrestrial species to learn about them. And they have also mixed their DNA with our DNA. So I'm sure there's at least 20 to 30 hybrid species today that can be confirmed.
So what would be some other examples of a being that actually had been successfully hybridized?
There is one of the avian extraterrestrials that I've met that are different. And this bird-like human looked like a pterodactyl. And they're highly intelligent. They're very nice. They're very intuitive. Of course, they're telepathic. Imagine a pterodactyl head, okay, that thin, but with a nice mouth underneath, in a scaly body.
So the really long mouth with the teeth?
Yeah, like the long face,
okay,
right? And then underneath is a small mouth, underneath the jaw. They were successful with making a hybrid one of these. And I don't know if they're doing that because it would remind people of like a demon or a dragon or something if they wanted to use it religiously. It's an ancient dinosaur, looking creature, but it stands upright and it's scaly and it's green and red scales.
What was the height?
8 feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what would be another one that would jump out as sort of a peculiar example?
The most fascinating ones are the ones that actually look like us. The ones that are just a little bit different. Maybe they're a little bit wider, maybe a little bit taller, but they have a beautiful, they have a face, they have a same digestive system, so much more advanced than us and conscious, and their brains are always larger for some reason. And that's one thing I want to point out is a lot of the most intelligent, 5-star, humanoid type extraterrestrials is what they really want. Because for some reason, it's the most compatible with our DNA. They are the ones that are the easiest to make a hybrid out of.